How's it going, Thieves fans? Today we are going to be talking about this last weekend's matches from the Thieves. They played against the Carolina Royal Ravens as well as the Minnesota Rocker. We had another weekend where the Thieves went to a map 5 in both of their matches. Um, for some reason, man, this team they just can't seem to close out a series faster than 5 maps. I don't know what it is. Um, if I'm not mistaken, they've gone to a map 5 every single series this split so far. So it would be really nice if they could kind of start icing up a little bit sooner. We'll get into both matches here, but the match against the Ravens, they at least started off hot, and the Ravens were able to take 2 maps kind of in the middle of the series. Whereas with the Minnesota Rocker series, the Thieves actually got reverse swept, where they started off hot and then they kind of just they I don't know I don't know if should say they kind of cooled off or what it was necessarily that happened. I think there was a huge momentum swing that really put them back, and they just kind of dug themselves a hole that they weren't able to come out of. And they can ice up only for so long, and that was the first series where the Thieves were not able to ice up like they have been. And I think that's going to be kind of a heartbreaker of a loss for the Thieves. Kind of in a good way, though. I think that's going to be one of those types of losses where the Thieves are going to look back on it and they're going to see that realistically it could have been super, super easy to close out that series. And it would have been a 3-0 if they would have. So I still think that the Thieves are on the right path. There are some things that need to be tweaked, that need to be fixed. I think when they start playing these higher level teams, as we've kind of talked about before, that the little things that the Thieves do are going to start to bite them in the butt. And I think um, against Rocker, I think that's what happened. So hopefully, like I said, that match will kind of spark something in them, make them realize, hey, we can't keep doing this. Sometimes it works out in our favor, but this was one of those instances where it really, really costed them to make some of those really little mistakes. So we'll see how all that goes. Obviously, it's still not a bad split from the Thieves. The Thieves are still 3-1. Um, it's just really unfortunate that they lost to Rocker. I felt like Rocker was a team that they easily should have beat, and based on how they started off their performance, I think that still stands. I still think they should have beat that team, but they kind of allowed Rocker to stay in it. And so you got to give credit to Rocker for being able to take advantage of the mistakes that the Thieves made, because that's not something that Rocker has really been doing in the past. So, credit to them. But let's get into the match against the Royal Ravens. That was the first match that the Thieves had this weekend, and that was the match they were able to win. It was, again, another close series, as they all have been, but there were definitely some moments where the Thieves looked a lot more cohesive than they have in some of their previous matches. So I think that's kind of like a good thing to note going into the future matches. So here we have Thieves winning against the Ravens 3-2, and the first map was very back and forth to start off, but the Thieves hit like that 100 point mark, and then that was when they were kind of able to start to take control of the map a little bit. The Thieves have been looking really good on their opening hard points. That's something that the Thieves have not been doing leading into this major. So I give them a ton of credit for that. As we saw at the start of the season, the Thieves were much better on their control maps. That was kind of like their bread and butter, which, as we can see now, that has kind of not been the case. So it almost feels like picking your battles here, but it would be nice to see the Thieves be able to kind of get that control back a little bit, because with how they're starting off their hard points, or their map ones, I should say, they're looking a hell of a lot better than they had before. As we said, 250 to 175. Ghosty had a great map going +9. Nasty +5. Joe Deceives +5. Crimp the only one negative with a -5 on the Thieves side of things, whereas Felony was the only one to break even for them. And, you know, Joe DeCeves has been looking really good. This whole series, Nasty had a great series overall, but Joe DeCeves has had a really good split coming off of challengers. So I give him a ton of credit. He obviously dropped down to challengers and is slash was the sub role. Um, and now he's kind of taken advantage of being back in the lineup. He's looked very solid, and he even mentioned it himself that going to challengers brought him some more confidence, and I think that's huge for the team. They definitely look a lot better with him in the roster. Um, he's been doing fantastic things for the team, and I think him and Krimp working together has been really well. Obviously, there are some things that, as we said, they still need to work it out a little bit. But to me, this was a huge change for the Thieves that I think was absolutely needed. And maybe hindsight's 2020, but the Thieves look a lot better with Joe DeCeves now, brought back up from the sub spot. Um, Going into the map two, this is where the Thieves kind of didn't look too great. There wasn't too much cohesion. They were getting first blooded a lot, like pretty much the entire map. They were getting first blooded. Nasty had a real stinker on the S&D. Despite having a good overall series, this first S&D was not great. He started off like 0-5 or 0-6 or something like that. Just not ideal. You need something from your ARs, especially somebody of Nasty's caliber. Still doing reasonable damage. Still had more damage than Kremp despite only having one kill. But there's something about the Thieves ARs, man. They always tend to lay a goose egg. Now I know Nasty finished with a kill, but like I said, he went several rounds without a kill, and I don't know if it's the Thieves Juju, whatever it is, but the Thieves ARs, man, we gotta get some kills in a search, dude. It's tough. Felony had an insane map, going 11-3. That's impressive out of him. Obviously, he's a vet. You know, it's something he's good at. We go into the control high rise here, and this is one that I think the Thieves definitely could have won. A 2-3, similar to the series as a whole. The Thieves, I feel like when they get to control, they're getting to those late rounds, but they're not closing it out, and that's where it's hurting them a lot because even with the Rocker series, same kind of deal. They should have closed out the control, and so if they can figure out their control, man, I really do think this team will start closing out teams at least in 4 maps. Like they let teams hang around in the controls because they're so close every single time, and then there's just a small little mistake that they make that allows the team to kind of stay in it or to get back in it. And obviously in this series it ended okay because we were still able to close it out, but the Thieves had an opportunity to win this map right here, and if that would have been the case, they would have closed this out in 4, which would have been a lot more ideal. Obviously, if you're winning, I can't complain that the Thieves are getting more reps in S&D and more reps in clutch situations. But I don't think that's the plan. I don't think that's what JCap and Shane want the Thieves to be doing. I don't think that's what they want to be doing themselves. But Thieves fall on the high rise control 2-3. They really don't look that bad on it. Obviously, high rise is kind of, I don't know if I want to say wishy-washy, but like the Thieves started off, they got put in the trap, then they come on defense, they put the Ravens into a trap, and it's just kind of like this back and forth. It's really just kind of, I think I've mentioned it before on some of the other control maps, but sometimes it really is just who can play defense better or who can play offense better than the defense or the offense, and vice versa, if that makes sense. Like, if the Thieves are playing great defense but the Ravens play better offense, that's gonna work in the Ravens' favor, or vice versa. So Nasty was the only one to go positive for the Thieves here. Joe DeCeves had a rough one, -13, which is kind of surprising because I feel like he's actually looked decent on high rise for the most part. But yeah, not the best map out of him. Um, Ghosty only -1, not terrible, and Kremp -5. So our subs didn't have the best map here, which is tough, considering that Gwen had a really good map. Basically washed out Joe Deceives with the +13. Um, but yeah, the Thieves had a moment in the round 5 where they were on the point and somebody on Ravens, I don't remember who it was, called in a streak, and there was a chance that the Thieves probably could have stayed alive on the point, um, even with the streak coming in. And for some reason, they hopped off the point, and that kind of slowed some things down for them. And then they still were able to cap the point, but they had less time in the end to try and go and take the A point. So, there's a possibility that if they stay on the point and they cap it the rest of the way, that maybe they win that round and they take the high rise control. But that's not how it went. Didn't fall in their favor. So we go to the 6-star hard point, which the Thieves look really good on 6-star for both hard point and search for the most part. Definitely hard point. They've been looking pretty solid. As you can see here, Ghosty's the only one to go negative with a -7, and Nasty had a really good one. Nasty and Joe Deceives. I mean, really, all three of these guys. I mean, anything I feel like that's like +5 is solid. Like that's really good. And Nasty was a +15 or +15, 1-5. What am I talking about? And Joe Deceives +11. Gwen the only one to go positive with a +1. I mean, 250 to 139. They did a listen in for the Ravens, and again, similar to the Karachi, it started off kind of back and forth, and then the Thieves just kind of like hit their stride and were able to pull away from the Ravens. And when they did the listen in, that was when the Thieves kind of started to ramp up a little bit, and the Ravens just looked and sounded defeated already. And that obviously for them is not a good sign when you still have half the map to finish on hard point, and you have a map 5 even if you lose. They were up in the series at this point, 2-1, but yet they were the ones that sounded defeated. So the Thieves did a really good job there of kind of checking the Ravens out, and I think that led into some momentum going into the high-rise S&D, where the Thieves were able to close it out 6-2, with Ghosty being the only guy to go negative. Joe Deceives had a really good search here with a 4.0 KD +6, and Nasty as well with a 4.5 +7. TJ, the only one to break even for the Ravens on that one. And this one was kind of a different end of the spectrum from the Rio. The Rio, as I said, the Thieves didn't get a lot of first bloods, whereas in High Rise, they were actually able to get a decent amount of first bloods. And I think that really led to their benefit. As you can see here, they got a total of 5 first bloods coming from Joe Deceives and Kremp, and the Ravens only had 3. So, it's only a two first blood difference, but I mean that makes a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. And so, when you look at the Rio, the Thieves had 2 first bloods, whereas the Ravens had holy shit, I'm blanking hard. 6 total first bloods. So it's really not ideal. And based on the number here, I'm sure that every first blood that the Ravens got was the round win, and every first blood the Thieves got was a round win. Maybe not necessarily, but pretty much. So the first bloods kind of went a long way. And obviously Joe Deceives and Nasty going 8-2 and 9-2, that's going to make a huge difference as well. So give them a lot of credit for that, being able to close that out. That kept them at 3-0 at the time. And I thought we have really good momentum going into this rocker match. And I mean, I think they did. Looking at this, the overall, it's not horrible. I mean, besides Nasty going -15, that's not ideal. Ghosty went -9, but I mean, he had 16. He had the most damage on the team, so it kind of weighs out a little bit. But But we go into the map 1 Vista. Again, the new hard points that the Thieves are playing, I think they look a lot better in these newer maps. Maybe it's just like a reset for them that they're able to kind of have a fresh start on these new maps. But they've been looking pretty solid on these. A 250 to 133 win here. Nobody on Minnesota going positive in this first map, and everybody on the Thieves going positive. Nasty the only one to be even, but I mean the Thieves looked good. They have been doing a lot better of holding as well as breaking, which is something that they weren't able to do before. The Thieves really struggled with breaking earlier in the year, and they're finally getting to that point where, you know, I don't want to say they can rely on breaking, but uh, they can use it to their advantage at times, and I think that's a huge thing for them. I think that's why they're winning a lot more map 1 hard points. They're just starting off a lot hotter than they have in the past. Even historically, the Thieves typically have not been great at starting off hot. They tend to start slow and then kind of ramp up as time goes on. But as we're seeing here, the Thieves are actually looking a little better to start series out, which is good. Obviously, as we said, they just need to be able to finish. They just need to be able to close the series out. So take map 1, 250 to 133. Then they come into map 2, and they have a really solid map 2 as well, with Nasty being the only one going negative with a -4. But he has the most damage on the team. Again, similar to Ghosty with his overview or his overall. He had the most damage here. So, you know, it balances out a little bit. Teamwork is on. That's what we want to see the most. If guys are having negative KDs but they're putting in really good damage and the team is winning and everybody else is having a solid map, solid series, however you want to put it, I mean, I think that's just good news for them in the grand scheme of things. Standy had an insane map. I don't know how he was able to get 13-6, but I mean, dude came back and was shooting 2.17 KD, sorry. And everybody else on Rocker, not the best, not ideal out of them. So the Thieves go up 2-0. Now the map 3 is definitely where everything kind of went downhill. They started off fine. Again, another close one, 3-2. And you know, there were just a couple moments here and there. The little stuff, man, it's the little stuff. I think what really hurt us in the end was they could not hold because they had defense at the end. They were able to get defense to finish the map, and they lost A or they lost B early, and after that they just couldn't really hold that B side of the map, and so Rocker was kind of able to just push up that left side of the map and, you know, take up a lot of space, causing the Thieves to have to play a little faster and, you know, kind of missing angles and things like that. And towards the end, I think that really hurt them a lot because, you know, that led to Kremp was on the A point with not much time left. The Thieves were at a really solid point where if he just stays on the point and watches the cross, there's a good chance the Thieves don't lose that because they had a full tick that they needed to get with, I want to say, like 15 seconds left. And Kremp just overextends. He leaves his position, he overextends, and accuracy is able to get a pick. And from there, everything kind of just crumbled. Everybody was able to just funnel in at that point. They got multiple people to stack, and the Thieves actually got a 3-piece to wipe them off the point, but all it took was one guy to come in, kind of keep that time going because they stacked so early on that the tick went up super fast. They were able to close out the round and end up winning that map, which I really think was like the Kickstarter for the rest of this. Now, personally, I don't love the sub-base hardpoint pick. I've said it before, I'm not in the Thieves camp. I don't know how they look on a day-to-day basis on these maps that they pick and that they play. But from my perspective, almost every time I've seen the Thieves play sub-base, they do not play it well. Like, Everybody on Rocker is positive here. Everybody's positive. Standy had another great map, and I mean, like this is just it's not ideal. We mentioned it before when they played the Gorillas that the Thieves they don't take the power positions on sub base. I don't know what it is, but it's just like they're always fighting an uphill battle on sub base, and I think this is a map that really shouldn't be in their rotation at all. Um, they just they don't look they don't look like a unit on it. They don't look cohesive, and with how this team has been trending, you don't want to take that away from them. You don't want to. I mean, sure, they need to expand their map pool if they want to be a really good team, but sub base, I just don't think is the map for them. And as you can see here, it was not a great showing. And I think when you look at the map one compared to the map four, I mean, all it is a different map. It's the same mode, different map, but the Thieves got smoked. Like you can't let that happen. And again, I don't know if it's necessarily the map or if it's just all momentum was kind of drained from them from this one map. I don't know, but they did not look great on it. Very frustrating, knowing that they should have closed it out here. They should have won 3-0, and instead they're getting to a 6-star SND when it was completely unnecessary. And here, again, not a great showing. The Thieves had been looking really good. I still think that they are a good 6 stars team, but I think at this point, after these two losses, I think all momentum was on Rocker's side. And Call of Duty is a really momentum heavy esport. Like it goes in waves, and teams are able to ride those waves. And I think that's what the Rocker did here. Thieves had more first bloods than the Rocker did, only by one, but the Thieves are only able to take one round. You have 4 first bloods and you only get one round out of that. Um, it's not ideal. Like I said, I really do think at this point it was more of a momentum thing. I think they just kind of lost all their momentum. It seemed like at this point Standy could do no wrong. He was on a heater from here on, and it's just really unfortunate how this played out. I didn't tweet much about it in the moment. I didn't talk much about it in the moment because it was just really frustrating. And as I said, I'm sure the players are frustrated. I'm sure the coaches were frustrated. Um, but I was just in that emotional headspace of watching the Thieves lose when I definitely felt like they shouldn't. That I knew it was probably best for me to not engage with all that stuff at the time because I didn't want to say things that I didn't mean or that I was really upset about. And it's really unfortunate, but as we said, I do think the Thieves are still headed in the right direction. They're looking better than what they have in the past, and I think this will be a huge learning experience for them, um, because they have like this feeling of like, holy shit, we could have won 3-0. Could have won 3-0, and all because of a couple little things in this invasion. Now we go to a game 5, and not only go to a game 5, but we lose it. Whereas, with this Carolina one, it's like they start off hot, they lose these two, but then it's like, hey, we ramp back up, we close it out. We're able to close out the series, we move on. And same with some of their other matches to start off this split. Same kind of deal. They start off hot, and then they cool off a little bit, and then they're able to ice up and they close it out. But I think now that they have one where they don't close it out, it's like, hey, we really got to crack down on this. Hopefully that's the case. Obviously, we'll see how it goes going into the next matches this weekend, because I believe it's 2 matches. We'll look here, but I know they're doing the Boston match this weekend on the Cinco de Mayo. They play. Okay, so it is just the one match against Boston this weekend, and then they play Seattle next weekend, and Optic before the major. So that's what we have left here. The Thieves should be able to beat Boston. They, as long as they don't come out how they did against Minnesota, or not even come out, they came out well. It's just They can't let Boston do something like this. They can't let Boston gain any type of momentum. Um, but I think the Thieves should be able to close out Boston Breach. Um, hopefully, too, it's they're going to be doing their watch party there, and I hope that gives the team a little bit of extra momentum. I think with the watch party, it gives more of an incentive to win. Obviously, they want to win at all times, but when fans are going to be there and there's people engaging with them and all that kind of stuff, like they want to win for the fans, and the fans want to see them win in person. I know the Spirits, when I went to the last two watch parties, when the Thieves lost the one, the Spirits were definitely a little down afterwards when the players came out and got to talk to the fans and things like that. But then when they won the second one that I went to, the Spirits were a lot higher. They were a lot more energized, and were excited to talk to the fans. And obviously, I would love to see that from the Thieves. I would love to see another win in person. I will be there, so I'm really excited. I think the Thieves are going to beat Boston. I think this will be their first time that they're able to close out a series in less than 5 maps. I'm not going to say a 3-0. I don't necessarily think 3-0. It could depend on maps specifically, but I'm thinking the Thieves are able to close it out 3-1. I think the Thieves are going to win the opening hard point. They've done a really good job of doing that. I think they're going to win the S&D. I think they're going to lose the control, and then I think they're going to come back and win the hard point. That's what I think. Hopefully, I'm wrong in the sense that the Thieves win 3-0. That would be ideal. But a win's a win. I won't complain about a win. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's what the Thieves are able to do. And they really kind of show some improvement based on what they learned from this weekend in particular. But yeah, I think for the most part, that's about it on this weekend. As I said, I'm going to be going to the match this coming weekend against Boston for the watch party. And then once we're done with that, when I'm back in town in Arizona, we will be doing another live talking about that match and talking about the watch party if you guys are interested in hearing about that as well. Also, shout out to Samurai Sansa for the follow. I appreciate that. Sorry I didn't read it earlier. Was just kind of in the middle of the breakdown a little bit, so I didn't want to get off track. I know my ADHD brain will push me onto another track, and I'll start rambling about something else if I lose my train of thought. But I appreciate the follow. Glad to see you stop by and appreciate the stream. But yeah, I think that's going to be it. Really not too much more than that. The Thieves finish off 1-1 this weekend. They are now 3-1. I believe in the standings for this major, they are, they're top 4 as of right now. And they should still be in winner's bracket, when it comes to the tournament. So not sure who we'll end up facing, but there's still some time for that. We can do some more speculating once we get to the last weekend before the tournament. But yeah, I still think the Thieves are headed in the right direction. Just a little bit of a disappointing weekend. Felt the Thieves should have been able to win both of their matches this weekend, and especially when it was a situation where they could have won 3-0 against Rocker. I don't think they would have won 3-0 against Carolina. I figured that one would be, their toughest battle. So it was a little surprising to me that they beat Carolina, but then lose to Minnesota. But, it is what it is. You can't win every single one. Even FaZe at some point are inevitably going to lose. It is what it is. But hopefully this was a good learning experience for the Thieves, and they will come back better this weekend for Boston. And then I'll get to be there and watch them win, get to talk to the players afterwards, and it'll all be good vibes. That's what I'm manifesting for this coming weekend. I appreciate anybody that tuned into the stream. If you want to, or if you haven't already, I strongly suggest checking out the video that I did with Dan Ghosty. We got to talk about some Call of Duty, talk about his career so far, and just have a good time. I had a lot of fun recording it, and I hope you guys all enjoy the video. So if you haven't seen it, I strongly suggest going and checking that out. And if you don't follow the Thieves Talk Twitter page already, I strongly suggest doing that as well. Anytime I'm able to watch the matches live, I try to give as many updates as I can. Sometimes it's hard with work. I'm not always able to do it live, and sometimes I have to go back and watch it later when I'm off of work. But I still try to do as much as I can when I can, and just keep updates and keep tabs on everything that's happening. And then if you enjoyed the stream and you are not following, I strongly suggest following, because I try to do this every week and get that recorded after the matches, so that way I can get it uploaded to YouTube earlier in the week, so that way if you miss on Twitch, you can watch it on YouTube as well. But that's about it. If you are watching this on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. As I said, I try to post these every single week, and I'm going to be trying to add more type of content to the YouTube channel as well. Hopefully I can do more player interviews like I did with Ghosty, and maybe throw in some other things here and there that I have cooking in my head. So we'll see kind of how all that goes. But if you enjoyed, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys next weekend. See ya.